entire group is on the road, and everybody loves you. You heard that from this applause here. Tell me, how often does it happen to you that you meet young people who are on either drugs or alcohol and who offer you to participate? Does it happen, Donnie?
Well, growing up, we had a lot of experiences with friends of ours doing drugs, and personally I had a lot of family members who had drug problems. But now, being on the road, it's a lot different. We're seeing a more positive attitude with the young kids because they're really behind our message. And we run into a lot of people who say that they're off of drugs now because of us and other young kids who are trying to be positive. So that makes us really happy and really proud.
Yes. Danny, how do you say no when somebody says, here, you are such big stars, you ought to participate?
Well, when we were growing up in the city, we always said no. You know, back in the days when we weren't famous and it was just us 5 guys together, we always said no. So now it's even easier because we're seen as role models, so we accept the responsibility and we just say no.
You had a question.
Yes, I'm a big fan of the New Kids on the Block, and I want to know what groups the New Kids are currently involved in that stop drugs.
Well, we've done a lot of work. We're not tied in with any group officially, but we've done a lot of work in Massachusetts and throughout the whole United States, just as kids who are saying no to drugs and trying to get other kids to say no to drugs. A lot of people say you can't just say no to drugs, but if someone gives you a gun and says shoot yourself in the head, you can say no. And drugs is the same risk, so you should be able to say no the same way.
Did the two of you ever say goodbye to a friend who used drugs and you said that I just don't want to be associated with them?
Yeah, there used to be a joke when we were young. Some of our friends used to call Danny Do Good Wood, because he used to always say no to drugs and stuff like that. But I noticed growing up that we used to try and make not doing drugs cool. You know, I remember I had a friend named Paul, and we were best friends when we were real young, and we used to be the non-smoking clique. And all of our other friends smoked and stuff, but we used to try and make ourselves the cooler guys because we didn't smoke, and we got a lot of respect for being ourselves, you know.
Yes, go ahead. You get some questions from the audience, okay? Go ahead.
I don't want to say that you should put your money into what you're preaching, but do you put any money that you're getting from the album, this one's for the children, into your support groups?
It's not going to anti-drug things. It's going for like United Cerebral Palsy and stuff for the homeless and stuff like that. But we've always, there's just one misconception about our group that I just want to clear up, is that people think that we're kids who were trained to say no to drugs and this and that. This is not true. We grew up around drugs. We grew up in the streets. We grew up with family members who did drugs. But we as individuals stood up and said no. And that's what we're doing now. And people have said, you guys are good role models. We didn't plan on being role models. We just planned on being ourselves. But we're ready and willing to accept the challenge of being role models, which is easy for us because we're just being ourselves.
And because everybody in this audience certainly loves you. I'm going to ask you a question about sex, the two of you. Could you say loud and clear that you don't need any alcohol and you don't need any drugs in order to feel sexual and to be good sex partners? You don't have to answer. I see the answer already. Yes, you have a question. Okay, here's a question for Tempest.
Go to the wedding, you blocked out people that were drunk and you didn't see it, or you just didn't know?
I think that, I mean, I've been in a hotel room with my mother, actually, and she got up out of bed and she said, can you smell that?
Groups that you're speaking about, none of them are, like, in the area where I live, and I would like to know, like, where some of them are affiliated, because, you know, I'm interested.
Okay, we'll get you that, what she means is some of the groups that are working towards
Yes.
People not... Okay, we'll get you an address right after this show, okay? You.
Okay.
This question was to Craig.
Craig?
I'd like to know, how do you feel about yourself now that you don't take drugs?
The two of you over there.
Is it easier for you guys to say no to drugs now than it was back then?
It is hard for some people to say no to drugs, but I mean, we're around drugs even less now. When we were growing up in the streets, it was all around us, but now we have a road crew and people with us that are totally drug-free, and so drugs are not around us anymore. And I just want to say that Craig and Tempest and the new kids are kind of good examples of how different people from different backgrounds can say no to drugs. I mean, people say city kids have more problems with drugs, and then some kids say suburban kids have no problems with drugs. But drugs are everywhere, and it's good to see that people from all different backgrounds can say no to drugs.
I think we all agree with that. There's more about this.
I've never said that I never did. When I was young, I did experiment with alcohol and stuff like that, and that's why I say that I speak from experience when I speak against drugs. I mean, I never had any experiences like Craig. He seemed to have a serious problem, and I'm really glad that he's here now speaking about it. But I did experiment when I was young, and that's why I speak from experience now.
Yeah.
I was going to direct a question to Craig. Music that served as your drug instead, that was your escape?
Passion. It was more of a passion than an escape. I don't really think we were trying to escape anything, but music is a good way to get away from drugs or any negative thing. Music brings people together. It has no color, it has no boundaries, it's just music. And we get a lot of letters from kids saying that they stopped using drugs because of our music or because of our message and stuff like that.
Yeah, over there?
We're proud of that.
Over there.
Do you feel that now your status as teenage role models has helped others to just say no to drugs cause?
Excuse me?
We talked about that, that you are role models, and that maybe some people are saying, look at the new kids on the block, they don't need it. Over there, yes, this young man.
This is for Donnie.
I think this is one of the unfortunate things about drugs, is that kids want to experiment with everything in life. And one of the things I always say is you always have to learn the truth about something before you judge it. So you could kind of say I'm a hypocrite if I say no to drugs, because I'm telling you to judge it without experimenting with it. But it just happened. I mean, when you're young, it's there, and you know, it's there for everyone, every age. But I mean, I just tried it. I didn't have the willpower to not try it. But
over
now,
there in the block, over there, yes.
Craig, other members became involved in drugs. That would ruin the whole image of what you're trying to...
I hope you would say, I will kick him out. What would you do?
Actually, I don't think we would kick him out, because the first thing he would need is help. You know,
would you report them to somebody for help?
We would probably try and get him help, put him in a rehab center or something, but to be honest, I don't think that would ever happen with us 5 guys, because we're as one, all 5 of us together.
Yeah, one more question here.